All right. Welcome back to another episode here of the Mandated Podcast Show. I am your host, Selwyn Robbins. Always glad to be here, guys, speaking to you once again. And today is Monday, May 10th, actually. I'm trying to keep my days together here. They've just been kind of falling in together, not knowing exactly which is which, but it's all good. I'm here alive. And as the saying always goes, glad to be 6 feet above rather than below. I always hear that. Another term that I hear from one of the managed churches, I always tell them, I'm glad to see you. And his reply is, it's always good to be seen.
Mhm.
So once again, good to see you guys. And going forward, I'm excited about this interview. You already see this guy, but I haven't told you his name yet. I actually got in connection with him through my wife. They both work at the same educational facility
Mhm.
here within the Dallas Metroplex. And she had told me about him because she knows the things that I want to have involved in uh, the podcast, which is business, leadership, manhood, fatherhood, entrepreneurship. And it so happens that our guest has every last one of those roles in his house. So, ladies and gentlemen, look at the screen and help me welcome this gentleman by the name of Freddie Sandifer. What's
Thank
going on,
you
Freddie?
so much. Thank you so much, Sam, and I appreciate being here, man. I thank you so much for having me, and
Mhm.
I'm so excited to be with you this Monday.
Man, thank you very much. Thank you
Yeah,
very much. As we were talking before we started, you were already on the phone, getting off one call,
exactly.
getting into the next.
Taking care. It's a Monday.
Man, what's that old school song, Manic Mondays?
Exactly. Matic Monday.
Yeah,
Absolutely right.
that was
And
back
I
in.
would appreciate your sweet wife for thinking about me and having us to connect and having me on the show. So I want to say that as well.
Oh, definitely, man. If you don't hear her, she's actually back there working. So
Oh, is she really?
she's back there working, man. She's making it
She's out
happen.
there working. All right.
Yes, she is. So I'll
I know
definitely,
she's great with students, so I already know that she's back there taking care of business because
man, she
anytime I
is.
had a student, I would send them to her because I know they would get taken care of the proper way. So yeah.
And just in the time of hearing her, I see the passion that she has for the students, man. And
Hmm.
above anything else, it doesn't matter what's happening. She wants to make sure that they're set for that next step, not just in testing, but in life, because she really finds a lot of time to, for lack of a better word, minister to them
Hmm.
and where they are
Absolutely right.
and what they want to do, man.
Absolutely right.
It's a great thing. So, in that, let's start off with this. One thing I always want to make sure is first is how are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. I tell people if you can see the next day, and if God is giving you your
Mm,
health and strength, everything else is good. Everything else can work itself out. When you hit 40, and I'm in my late 40s. So
mm,
when you hit that, it's just that you just don't the things that you cared about at 20 and 30, like, man, this is who I am. This
mhm.
is God made me. You accept it. I'm not gonna change, and I'm good with it. And we gonna roll with it. And that's how I see life, man. So stuff I can't control, I don't worry about it. It's in His hand. Stuff I can, He gave me the tools to handle it, and I just move forward.
Oh, come on, come on. Yeah, you
Yeah,
trying to preach at 10 o'clock in the
yeah.
morning. I like it. And that's so true, man. Something, we have to know as men that we can't do it all. We always have to have
Exactly.
something or somebody more, so somebody above us that gives us the strength that we need. And you know where we're
Absolutely right.
coming from with that. Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is the strength of everything
Amen.
that we're doing, man. Um,
Absolutely right.
so, in that going forward, your family, tell me
Yeah,
about Miss Delane and the kids, everything, not everything that they're doing, but how are they doing?
they are doing well. They are doing well. My wife spoke to her this morning. She was on her way to work to take care of her building. She's a principal in
Mm,
Fort Worth. So she was on her way to work, and we had a great Mother's Day celebrating her uh, yesterday. And the kids gave her a beautiful gift.
mm.
They made her her initial and made homemade some chocolate strawberries, and they did it themselves
What?
uh, and actually customize some things and artwork just to celebrate her. And that was so beautiful. And they delivered it to her that morning. So the kids are doing good. My wife is doing good. She had a great Mother's Day.
Mm.
And my daughter's actually at school doing her AP test, my baby girl. And then Carrington's getting ready to graduate. and my son is just eating up out of house and home, and and so it's good, man. I tell you, they got their health and strength, and we're all here together, and we'll be celebrating 24 years this year. 24 years of marriage. We got married in '97, so yeah, it'll be 24 years in July 12th. So
Wow.
24 years of marriage, bro.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Come on, man. That's a lot of legacy going on right there
That's
that's
it.
being
That's
passed
it.
down. You know,
Exactly. And we're
that's
just trying to start a new trend because my wife, uh, parents were divorced at
mhm,
a very, very young age. My mom and dad divorced at a young age, and
mm,
so we just said we want to break that curse
ooh.
and show our kids the example that hey, we can come from dysfunction, and God can make it functional, and we can move forward and have a marriage that He would be pleased with.
Okay, see, now remember I told you that we had questions, but I'd rather go off of what
Exactly.
okay,
Exactly.
so you just brought a question to me.
Yes.
Uh, in regards to marriage,
Mhm.
and my wife and I are working on establishing that same thing too in regards to legacy, but
Mhm.
you're working on yourself in Delana, working on breaking curses, generational
Yeah.
curses.
Mhm.
Why continue to forge on in your marriage?
Exactly.
How purposeful are you guys about that? In the sense of it's not that you're going through day to day, but saying, "Hey, baby, wife, husband, this is what we need to do to make sure our kids are seeing certain examples of what marriage is, what life is in this house from when they
Exactly.
go out." What are you guys doing on that?
Well, we have honest conversation,
Mm.
and thank God for our pastor Tim Ross. That he just led a series, a 9-week series on marriage.
Oh
It's
wow!
called
Okay.
Upstairs Vows, and I'll tell any married couple or anyone that's getting ready to get married,
Mhm,
you need to go to Embassy City Church and watch that series. It's life changing because a lot of stuff I didn't know, a
mhm,
lot of stuff he didn't know,
mhm,
and so what we try to do is say, hey, let's not be watchful how we speak to each other in
mhm,
front of our kids, and
mhm.
just do out of respect for one another, period. And then it's okay to be angry because the Bible didn't say anything about sin being that anger was sin.
Yeah,
It says be angry and
and
sin
sin not.
not. And
Mhm.
people want to associate anger. No, I can be angry,
Yeah.
and that's a feeling I'm right to have.
Mhm.
Uh, but I just don't need to act on sin.
Mm.
Or let that anger make me act out in sin.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and so as long as I do that, that's fine. And then we have to be honest
Mhm.
and be comfortable. Like my pastor says, having uncomfortable conversations. If it's something that she does that I don't like, I need to say it. I can say, well, baby, you know what? I love you, and you do this so well, but you get kind of petty when you do this kind of stuff. And so, and it has not always been easy. I tell people all the time. People always tell you, oh, you got to do this up front, this to establish the foundation. But no one really talks to you about once you've been married for 10, 15, 20.
Mhm.
That's when it gets rough because that person that you married
Mhm.
is no longer the same person 20 years down the road,
Mm.
15 years down the road. Life happens.
Yeah.
Uh, you lose loved ones. Um,
Mm.
you experience different things. Kids make a difference, and then next thing you know, you could grow so far apart you don't even know each other anymore. And that's why a lot of people say, "I can't believe they got divorced after 25 years or 24 years." I can understand that because you can grow apart if you
Yeah.
allow that to happen. And so
Mhm.
you have to constantly communicate. You have to constantly you have to be able to have a relationship to have the uncomfortable situations and be comfortable of having those conversations. And you have to have honesty. And then you need counseling. My
Mm.
pastor said, going to the altar is extremely good to open up the can of worms, but you need to go to a counseling sessions to overcome that can of worms.
Oh man, that's a lot of marriage 101 right there.
Yeah.
Come on, man. And
Yeah.
I just want to continue on that vein of those uncomfortable conversations.
Hmm.
Um, that really is true. I know for me, at times it's been hard to bring up those uncomfortable conversations
Yes.
um, because of how I felt about certain
Hmm.
things. And as in the result, and this is from past now,
Yes.
um, that you kind of already walked in knowing what the result was going to be, that you'll feel bad about something.
Yeah,
So you don't bring it up because you don't want to walk away with your head between your legs, etc., and going on.
exactly.
But what helps, what I found for me, what helps is having the right mate
Yes,
that,
that is critical.
allows that space
Mm-hmm.
to say, okay, babe, what is it that you want to talk about? That,
Yes.
yeah, it may get tense, it may get heated, but as you said
Mm-hmm.
before, you don't sin in that.
Exactly.
Um, and that world of communication is so big, is that so much can happen if you allow that door to open, but so much won't happen if you allow that door to be closed.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Oh, that's it. You
man,
just you absolutely said it.
I,
Yes.
I tell you, I speak to this lady all the time. Yesterday, as I
Yeah.
was telling you, we sat on the patio and we just
Yeah.
had conversation. Just life
Mhm.
conversation, and that's
Exactly.
exhilarating for us. That is what continues to help us build that bond that we have.
Yes.
So,
Exactly.
man, as you go on with that, man, thank you for even saying that. Like I said, we
No,
weren't even
no
planning
worries.
on going there, but
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what I
Well, I
like.
appreciate it. This is good conversation, man. And so many times as African Americans, we have to hide our emotions and our feelings because we don't want to be seen like the angry black man or the angry black woman.
Yeah.
And we have to get beyond that. We have to be able to express so that we can be healthy
Hmm.
and not allow uh, racial social norms of being looked upon negatively affect us from being able to express our true authentic selves.
Mm. That that's big there. The true authentic
Mm-hmm.
self. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I was reading, uh, it's a discipleship myself and a couple of guys are in. We're on this last book. It's called Real Man by Paul
Yes.
Cole. And in part of
Mm-hmm.
that, it was talking about how society was changing or substituting realism for, in a sense, something fake.
Mm-hmm.
That it was trying to, how do I want to get this correct? In essence, it was trying to say that um, your feelings are only about you and not the world, or vice versa, something like
Yeah.
that. Talking
Mm-hmm.
about your true self. And I think at some point, and still on a marriage topic here, that
Mm-hmm.
you do have to understand your true self coming into a marriage,
Yeah.
wherever you are at that time, but also
Absolutely.
know that your true self is going to evolve because now you're tied to your mate, and that's going to
Exactly.
shift here and there. And as you said, you've been married 22 or is 27 years?
It'll be 24
20
years this coming July.
July. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, y'all have shifted, man.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. And we
Man.
did, people like, oh, my marriage is no. We had some points that we looked like, are we gonna do this? And we had some points that we were like, no, we're gonna stay in and we're gonna do this.
Mhm,
You have to be honest. And I tell people and the same thing, and I tell when I'm mentoring African American males, and I have guys that
mhm.
come and talk to them. I said, don't be fake in front of them. Don't act like you have it all together,
Oh
and
man.
because then you become unrelatable and then you become something that they can't reach. Be honest with them. Let them know that you had some same struggles
Mhm,
and let them know you're relatable and how you overcame those. That's how you build that relationship and bond. So I want my kids to understand the truth of, me and your mom, we do not have a perfect marriage,
mhm,
but we strive for one.
mhm,
And we love one another through the good and the bad. That's why the Bible said, the good and bad, for better and for worse, and
mhm,
sickness and health. And so you have to be able to have that foundation to sustain you through the good time and the bad time. And you
mhm,
have to be honest with your kids so they won't think, oh, mom and dad never argued. Mom and dad never did this. Mom, dad, no, they need to see it. So when they go through something, they understand, I don't have to get a divorce. My
mhm,
parents did have some arguments. You don't want to do
mhm.
something that scar them,
Yeah.
but you want to be enough to where it's real with them so they understand when they go through it that
Mhm.
it's a part of process of being married and it's nothing that's so alarming that you have to go get a divorce over.
And that brings up this thought here, is that when we were growing up, you had mentioned the product of being divorced. I am just as well. But what the difference is, and please correct me if I'm wrong, or chime in, is that
Mhm.
back then when we were growing up and seeing our parents divorce compared to now, is that now we have the tools to work
Yes.
through it.
Yes,
compared to back then. It was, mom and dad are just staying together. You saw they just stayed together for years, and that's all it
exactly,
was, but never really worked through those problems. Compared to now, you have
exactly.
the guidance counselors, you have the pastors or leaders, and tighter friends or whatnot that can walk side by side to say, hey, let's work on this, rather than
You were so
I'm
true.
fed up, I'm done.
Yes, I mean that's perfect. Our parents came from a generation to where if something happened in the family, you didn't speak on it. You
Mm,
know, if
mm,
something happened to them traumatic, you just don't say anything. And
mhm.
the same thing with parents, they didn't have the tools, so you just didn't say anything. You know, we just in it. We're just gonna work through it. We just by not saying it, and just eventually it hopefully it just magically disappears.
Yeah.
And so now our generation was like, no, we're going to address that issue. The
Mm,
millennials doing the exact same thing.
mhm,
And we have tools and we have the resources. And the pastors now are more equipped because a lot of them
mm,
have the counseling background.
yeah.
Um, or they know counselors that they're bringing into church and say, no, this is normal. I go to counseling
Mhm,
as your leader.
yeah.
And going to counseling does not make you weak, does not mean you're crazy. It means that you're smart and it means that you're healthy. And it's just like going to get your annual physical. You have to
Mhm,
work on this, just like you have to work on this. And it's
mhm,
the same thing. And so those are the things that we have now, which can really make a difference and us controlling the narrative
mm,
versus the
yeah.
narrative controlling us, and we meet the statistics that are negative. And
Mhm.
we don't want to have those things now because, like you said, we have the tools that are readily available for us,
Well,
but we have to use
let's take those tools into this conversation specific to
them.
men and that stigma of going to a therapist or psychologist or whatnot that makes you weak,
Mhm.
or the big thing of men don't cry, um,
Mhm.
which that's one of the biggest stigmas out there. That
Mhm.
and I have to be direct about this term. We emasculate ourselves because of those particular
Absolutely right.
things. Um,
Mhm.
So, as you're speaking to the men of color, because that is one passion, I want you to bring that up on how that started, and
Okay.
um, within that, how did you counsel these young men into breaking those stereotypes?
Got well. It started. I was actually working at Trinity River campus as an academic advisor, and Dr. Fulkerson at the time was saying we had to achieve the Dream Initiative,
Mm,
and she was saying that hey, we have to do something to help our students of color because they're not, you know, doing what they need to do to be successful
mm,
academically at TCC, and not only at TCC, but in the ISDs, and
mm,
it was a nationwide issue.
mhm,
And so she said, and specifically, it's dealing with African American men and Latino men,
mm,
students. And so she said, so we got to do this and we got this. And so I raised my hand and I said, okay, so you telling me this is an issue. And I agree with you because I'm an academic advisor. And I told her what my experience was. I said a lot of black male students come in here and they all come to see me because I'm relatable.
mm,
They see someone that looks like them. I said, but the unfortunate thing, I'm not in the classroom and I don't have the support services, but I get them started. They're excited when they leave my office. And then something happens between mid semester, and I look for them to come back for the second part of their advising process, and they dropped out.
mm,
And I said, I call these students. And when I call them, it's either life issues or faculty or the things that we have on campus are not meeting their needs.
mm.
And so what do you have? What do you have specifically in this plan to address their issues? And she said, that's a good question. I
Mhm.
appoint you to come up with it. So
That
that's actually how it all
voluntold.
got started. And so I was like, I bet, cool. I'm gonna help mine.
Yeah.
And so I came up and I realized that hey, I can't do it by myself.
Mhm,
Uh, and so I called everybody that I knew that was a African American male that worked for Trinity River campus. I didn't care
mhm,
if you worked in grounds. I
mm,
didn't care if it was a VP, and I didn't say, and I invited them all to a meeting. I said, look,
mm,
uh, I'm in charge of this, and there's no title ranks here. We're all brothers. We're
mhm.
breaking bread. I need your help.
Yeah.
I said, this is the issue that we have before us. These are my ideas.
Mhm,
We need to mentor these guys. and I said, someone mentor us, and we need to come up with a plan on how to do it. I said, this is what God has given me, and I told him in a state funded institution that this is what God, because God gave it to me, and I explained to him what I did, and we all chimed in. We had some of the best meetings, man. We didn't even want to let the meetings go, and we just kept going, chiming and chiming and chiming. And then me and Stephen Lamons went to get some students and kind of meet with them, to kind of talk to them, say, hey, this is what we're thinking, but how are you feeling? You know, because the guys kept saying, well, we need to show them how to wear suits and stuff. And I kept saying, I don't think that's the way to do it, because we got to meet them where they are. Then you bring them up. And then we asked the guy, I said, if I was to approach you in a suit, or well, if I was to approach you dressed more, you know, similar to where you dress, more casual, which one is more effective? Well, during the focus group, they told us, well, if you come casual, I feel like you're on my level. If you come in a suit, then I think that we have nothing in common. And so, see, that's a communication barrier. But we had to talk to the people that we were trying to service to get that information.
That's right.
So once we got information and due to the service group, we came up with the Men of Color Mentoring Program. God blessed us to be extremely good in those. The dropout rate improved almost by 50%. The success rate improved by 50%. And we knew we had a model that we could build upon. It got national attention. If you Google channel, I think channel 4 and 5, they did a story on us, and but we never set out to do that. The only thing that we set out to do is to make sure that, and I said, if we can just change one, that was the goal. That was the goal. We started out with 12. By the time I finished, we had over almost 1,000 male students.
Wow.
And it speaks on today. We still get together. You know, the program is no longer in existence. When Irma Johnson died, when new leadership came, you know, they have a different method. But God put us in that season to help those students that needed help. And now those students are going on helping other students. So like the wine that said before, we may never know all the people we may touch, but we know that we laid the foundation for them to continue to help and make a difference between the Black and brown males.
So 1,000 young men helped just by one little question. Now,
absolutely right. Absolutely right. And you can't be people. You don't be upset with humble beginnings, because we had to struggle to get the first 12, and we end up with over 1,000 young men. So you just start off wherever God says start off, and let him do what he does, and we just be obedient and listen. And I tell people, when you mentor students, you have to understand that I'm gonna get not only am I pouring into them, but they're going to pour into me too. This is going to be a relationship. It's not going to be a dictatorship. And that's what they have to understand. You're going to learn as much from these young people as they're going to learn from you, and establish that rapport. And then you can build upon that. And I have, you know, like Stanley, a guy that comes to mind, and your wife knows, she should know Stanley. Stanley came in, then thinking he always wanted to be a doctor, but didn't think he had the goods to do it. Got into the program where Stanley is in medical school right now.
Yes, she has mentioned him before.
Yes, he's one of our students. Eduardo is another student that comes to mind, who daddy wanted him to go and work for his construction company. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to be a dentist. Well, he's in dentist school right now.
Come on, man.
Trey Young, his MBA on his own business. Janichi wanted to just get to community college and finish. Well, we encouraged him. Janichi has went on to Texas State, graduated with videography and photography, and now he's going to do great things. Got an eye that's beyond this world for taking photos and stuff. So, I mean, we got success story. Saul has his own business, and one guy, man, I can't believe I forgot it. Marcus Johnson. And we taught the guys to follow your heart. Marcus Johnson graduated from Texas Tech in IT, because that's what he wanted to do. Well, got in the field, so you know what? This is not what I want to do. I really was inspired by you guys helping other young guys, and I really want to go into social work. So he went back, got his master's degree in social work, graduated, and working in Dallas, helping at-risk youth. Wow. So those are the things, and those are the things. Wow. And so, and they're turning around, and then they're starting an organization. And all I asked them is this: I said, when you get it, God has blessed you. All I ask you for you to do is pay it forward to someone
Yes,
that
sir.
looks. That's
Man.
all. That's all I ask. You don't. Well, I pretty. You don't have to. Oh, you don't owe me a dime. You don't have to buy me no house. You don't have to buy me no. None of that stuff. All I want you to do is pay it forward and help someone else.
Man,
Is
and
it?
that's how you get paid. If anybody was looking to receive something from it, is that you see the fruit of the seed that you
Yes.
put in, man. Um, that
Absolutely right.
that really is so key. And as you were speaking, I'm listening to certain things in there, and I heard a lot about entrepreneurship. Uh, uh,
Mm-hmm.
you're an entrepreneur 3 times over, if I'm
Yes.
correct, right? Fitness,
Yes.
the
It's fitness
speaking,
and with my
and the band.
I have real estate. I deal in with real estate with a friend of mine. I'm a partner in his business, and then I have my own band.
Oh, okay, so let me see, which one do I want to pick out of those three? Um, let's speak about construction because so much is changing in the dynamic of the housing market
Mm-hmm.
from 2008 to now. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Prices are dropping as far as the interest rate or whatnot, but even
Mm-hmm.
more so, I don't know if you're involved in this part of it or not, or how much you know about it, but just
Mm-hmm.
more sustainable living, whether they're shipping container homes, 3D homes, things of that nature. Is that venture part of that, or y'all looking into that as well?
Yeah, well, the guy that I'm in business with, he has his own construction company, and what he started to do, he
Mhm.
actually started remodeling homes first. And actually, he got married. They remodeled a house. He realized he had a taste for it. He was a barber before then, and had his own barber shop, and left barbering to realize, hey, I can make
Wow.
3 times as much money in real estate.
Wow.
And then he
Great
started
thing.
building. He started flipping homes, and then he
Uh-huh.
realized the only thing I needed was to do the foundation. Once I learned that, I could actually start building homes. And
Mhm.
so, what made me invest in his business was he started rebuilding homes in the neighborhood that I grew up in, East Fort Worth.
Mhm.
And he wasn't putting just some shotgun houses there. He was
Yeah.
putting beautiful homes there with stone and brick,
Mhm.
uh, and high elevations and stuff like that, and to beautify our community. And I want to be a part of that. And
Mhm.
so I'm just a solid investor in that. And but one thing that he is getting into is just trying to make sure, because interest rates are lower, but the prices of the homes are going up dramatically.
Materials, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but one thing he's into to make sure that people that look like us can get into these homes, and
Mhm.
he's keeping the cost to where they can afford it.
Mhm.
And so what I want to do is reach out to our people and say, look, sometimes we invest in the wrong things. I love it. I trust me. I love fancy cars. I love them. I love the rims and all that stuff, but they depreciate. I have a '06 Toyota Tundra that has 312,000 miles on it.
Come on,
I can
man.
go, yes, I can go buy any Cadillac, Mercedes that I want to buy if I wanted to. But
Mhm.
I choose not to, because that's not a smart investment. I would rather help someone or put my stuff into real estate. And we have to learn this, because if you look at a lot of Black communities, we're
Mhm.
selling our properties too cheap.
Mm.
And then they're coming in and gentrification and all these
Mhm.
different things, and then they'll turn around and sell it for high. Hold on to that property.
Mhm.
Everyone that has wealth started with real estate. And so we have to start holding on to that property and stop selling so cheap. It was one guy in Stop Six, and
Mhm.
he had 3 properties. And we asked him, my friend built the house. He wanted to go back. He built a beautiful, big old home in Southeast, Stop Six area, because he wanted to give back and beautify the neighborhood in which he grew up in. And so he had 3 lots right on the other side of him, and it was an older Black gentleman that owned it. And we said, hey, if you ever sell it, let us know.
Mhm.
He never let us know. Then he
Mhm.
came back and said, I sold the property. And we was like, well, why didn't you come to us and we told you that we'll be willing to buy it from you?
Mhm.
And he sold the property for $20,000, and he thought he did something. Well,
Mhm.
that guy turned around and built 3 shotgun houses on there. And he turned around and sold each one of those houses for $150,000 each. Now, before he
Oh,
did that, so the one guy bought the property from him, right?
mhm.
He sold it for 20. The guy just bought the property from him, just gave him the money quick. He thought he did something. The guy that bought it from him held on to it,
Mm.
sold it to the white developer who built 3 houses on there. and he's going to probably make about $400,000 off of that. And that guy went around with $20,000. So we got to be smarter people. We got to hold on to real estate. We got to pay the taxes on it. We have to start thinking about
Man.
things appreciate versus depreciate. Stop buying. Will Smith said it best. Stop buying stuff to impress people that you don't even like.
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. Stop right there. Okay, because
Yes.
oh man, because you went straight into the question that was the number one on business because you teach business, and I
Yes.
wanted to ask that very specific question of what
Mhm.
we can do as a community to make better investments in the long
Yes.
term. Because yes, we make those things that are that quick little turnaround or whatnot, but never have not looked at the longevity of it. Um,
Exactly.
and I tell you now, I wish I had one, maybe 2 acres of land here in the DFW area because the way it
Yes.
has exploded in at least the
Absolutely right.
past 20 years, you know, I'd have been
Yes.
good.
You'd have been good. And we got to get it and hold on to it.
Man.
Even if you don't know what to do with it, just buy it and hold it.
Hmm.
Just hold it because you're not going to lose money.
So let me ask this: what opportunity is there out there for people of color to say go into a venture and say, hey, there's a 5 acre lot over there
Mhm.
that's for sale. Why don't we form a group, a partnership or whatnot? I don't know if that's LLC or whatnot. And let's buy that as this
Yes.
particular company and hold on to it, as you say, and
Hmm.
do something with it long down the road if that
Hmm.
opportunity arises. Is there a group like that around?
There's no group that I know of that's like that, but that's neat. It needs to happen. There was one group that I know of, and I never did hear back from them. But it was some alphas, and I don't know if they just did it if you had to be in a fraternity, but they were starting to buy property, and you had to put so much in. And they was doing the same thing because that's just a smart investment. You're not going to lose money. So what I would encourage people to do, it doesn't have to be established for us to get it going. What we need to do is to start putting those groups together, get together, see what's low, see go to the planning and development in the
Hmm.
city and see what's going to be out there, what they're planning to do in the future plans, go buy that property cheap, hold on to it.
Hmm.
And then even if you decide to sell it, know what the property is worth. And then
Hmm.
you guys can make that money
Hmm.
and continue to build and
To
put
build.
back in and get a payday and then go buy the next piece of property.
You know,
So you don't
go
necessarily
ahead.
have to be building. You can just buy it and flip it,
You know,
the
there's
land.
come on. You know, there's
Yeah.
a gentleman I ran across on LinkedIn. There's a it's a three-partner group of Black men in Ohio
Hmm.
that just
Hmm.
started a housing development. They just broke ground, I want to say maybe about 2 weeks ago, and they're
Hmm.
building a development based off of shipping containers. They've already got
Yeah.
the sketch work, did the groundbreaking or whatnot. And I looked at that,
Hmm.
I'm like, oh my God, that was just so empowering for me because
Yes.
I love homes, plain and simple. I
Yes.
really do. But
Yes.
knowing that this new market of shipping containers is coming in, but it's also sustainable, cheaper, and you could do much more with it. I saw Black
Hmm.
men doing this. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah.
new. That really is new for me. So
That
just as you're doing there, man.
yeah. But
I,
3D homes, like you said, that's coming.
yeah.
And if you're smart, you want to find someone that's doing it and start investing in it early. 3D homes is coming. 3D brick, all the supplies
Hmm.
is coming. 3D, you're gonna save so much money doing that. And so the quicker you can get into that, and here's the thing, and I tell people this all the time, you don't have to be a master in that, but
Hmm.
you need to know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
So a quick story: I got into a trucking business, but you learn from your failures. Don't be afraid to take that jump and fail. I
Hmm.
failed miserably. I made great money the first month and failed miserably, and then I sold it.
Hmm.
I didn't let that deter me from getting to the next business venture. I learned from that. And
Hmm.
what I realized is that before I jump into a business, I can't just look and see how much money you can make. I need to learn everything about that business. That's something that Mark Cuban talks about a lot.
Hmm.
And then once you learn that, then it help you be sustainable. So now I know if I ever, and I might get back in the trucking business, but I'm gonna get, my brother has his driver's license now.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be able to drive and can't rely on drivers or someone I can count on that's in my family that I can get to drive that truck. That's how I lost money, because my driver quit on me and I couldn't find another one. And then the truck started breaking down. So those are the things you have to learn. And then you take that to prepare. Well, I'm like you, I love home. Me and my best friend Pat, we go look at homes. We like the way they build. We learn everything about them. It's a natural thing for us. So that's easy for me to invest in. The same thing, I'm a guitar player. So I'm going to buy a higher dollar guitar that's going to never lose value. And then I could turn around and sell it 5 years and get at least what I paid for it, plus probably another 10 or 15% in increase. So those are the things that you want to do. What do you have interest in? Learn everything about it and realize how you can make some money out there. And everyone that's Black need to have, and I'm not talking to anybody, but especially for my people, because the Bible said charity starts at home. I'm Black. So you need to have at least 2 to 3 streams of income. It would take stress off your life. Talk about health. It will help you live longer. And then when you have things on your job that you don't want to deal with, you can get a lot out of that stuff because you got 2 other streams of income coming in. You are a slave to someone, and the Bible speaks about that.
Yep.
When they have ownership over you, and then if they say, "Hey, you're fired," and Texas is an at-will state, then what are you going to do? You know, everything is dependent on them. And most people are a paycheck away from being broke. So start saving your money. Start having a micropreneurship, which is your side hustle, the thing that you like, and you turn into a legitimate business where you can make another stream of income. And it don't have to be thousands of thousands a month. It might be only generating $500 a month. Well, that's $500 more than you ever had.
That's right. Come on.
You can invest into the stock market. That's $500 you can invest into retirement. But that's still an extra $500, and 500 over 12 months adds up to be pretty nicely. So don't discount small beginning, but try to have 3 steady streams of income.
So let me go into this because, as I said, you're an entrepreneur. You're teaching business, and you just spoke great meat about building a business. But let's go to the beginning of that, the mindset that's required, the discipline that's required to build that business. What have you put into that? What did you learn as you're building these streams of income?
Well, what I've learned is you always want to look for people you aspire to be like. And so I know when I grew up, I didn't know that we were poor when I was little, because with everything I wanted, God blessed us to be able to get, but I didn't realize how they were getting it. And then when I got older, I realized that we were struggling financially, and I kept saying, I don't want to live this way.
Yeah.
There has to be a better way. Well, then I had a mentor and then my mom did a fabulous thing. She made me work when I was a high schooler on grounds at TCC. I was working in 100-degree weather, mowing yards and stuff. And I was mowing the front of the administrative building. And it's important to have someone that look like you that you try to be like. I saw Jimmy Madison, drove up in a Lexus, had a suit on, and was going to his office. And I looked at me and I saw how hot I was. And I'm in the sun. And I'm like, he going to the office, and I saw him on his breaks. He went out. They had 3 little holes that you can work on your golf shot with. And I was like, at work, he get to work on his golf game too. And then he was, and then he was in meetings and he was doing this thing. And I said, dude, that's what I want to be like. So I told my mom about him, and she knew him. And then she got me to be a work study student under him in the business services office. And me and him hit it off. And he took me up on his wings, and he sit down and talked to me. He said, when you move in your home, you want to make sure you move in an A-rated neighborhood. You want to start saving money. He said, you want to save at least $1,500. He taught me this. And I've been teaching all my mentees this, and my kids this too. He said, you save up $1,500. So in case you ever need to borrow some money, you can borrow from yourself, build up your credit. He said, but what's going to happen is you're going to get addicted, because at $1,500, you're going to say, ooh, now I got $2,000. Now I got 3,000. Now I got 10,000. Well, now I got 15,000. Now I got 20,000. So then I got in a mindset. Then I read a book. They said, well, you should save up a year worth of salary, or at least a year worth of your mortgage, in case something happened. You got a year worth. So then I said, well, I got to do that. Then that was my next goal, and then this was my next goal. So then what he told me too, he said, then when you go buy furniture, he said, don't never go broke trying to impress somebody else. He said, people, when you build a house, people come to see the blessing that God has given you, and to celebrate that, not to see what you have. If they come to see what you have, they're not your friends. He said, so let some of them rooms be the wild, wild west. And then he said, when you do get it, help build up your credit, save the money for it. And then he said, get it on no interest, no payment for a year. And then he said, you already have the money sitting in a money market account, drawing interest, not drawing a lot of interest, but still you probably make about $40, $50 off of it. He says $50 more than what you had. And then in 6 months, go pay it off. And when you go pay it off, then your credit rating shoots up. So now that money that what you save for that furniture item is in the money market account, making money for you. And then you got the money to pay that furniture off early. And then your credit rating shoots up. So then you in a win-win situation. And then you never have to be in stress. If you have to borrow something, you can go to the bank and say, well, yeah, I have excellent credit. And I also have $30,000 in the bank, or I have 60,000, I have 7,000 in the bank. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to get that loan.
Come on.
So those are the mindset. And then you realize, okay, I need to have multiple streams of income, because now that I get addicted to having this job could only allow me to save 30,000. But if I had other streams of income, then I can get to $100,000. Then when I want to get to $200,000, then I can make bigger investments. Then I can make bigger gains. So that's how you start. You just start, save $1,500. And how you start that? Your income tax, save it. You've been used to having it in. Save your income tax. Throw that to a money market account. Don't spend it. That's how you start, and then build from there.
Yeah, that's a whole nother issue right there on getting extra income and not spending it or spending it.
Exactly.
Well, we only have a few more minutes here, so I want to give you the time to just tell the audience the thing that drives you, or the thing that's on your heart that you really want to express.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate your platform. You're doing amazing work, man. And I pray that God just bless your platform to explode bigger than you can even imagine. So that's the first thing that's on my heart. Yes, the second thing is that as African Americans, and I speak to us, and then anyone else can benefit from this as well. The same thing in the college. We said, hey, we can fix the education gap with African Americans. Is going to benefit everybody. And it's the same thing what I'm saying now. We have to get serious about our health. In order for us to do God's work, in order for us to do our work, for us building businesses, building investments, in order for us to give back and mentor and do everything, we need to be in good health. We have to be in good health, and we make choices that causes our health to be bad. You cannot eat out and fast food and be healthy. High blood pressure, diabetes. When they ask you on that report, do your family has a history of doing that? 9 times out of 10, they ask you, do your family eat bad? Because if so, they taught you how to eat bad, and because of that, you're gonna have those same things. And so, what I'm encouraging you to do, from a guy that was skinny playing basketball, that got married and stopped playing, and had bad eating habits, and got up to 368 pounds. Did not I was 368 pounds. I did not have any surgery. I got a trainer, and I worked it all off. And I became a trainer and got my nutrition certification, and as well as my personal training certification. I don't believe just doing things. I get the background and the education behind it so I can do it the proper way. And so I want to tell people, we invest in Gucci bags, we invest in all these things that don't bring value. And then we don't want to put money into a trainer that can help you with your health. Well, your health is your wealth. You can't do anything if you're not healthy. And so we need to learn how to eat right. We need to change the generational curses of eating bad. And we need to stop centering everything around food and center everything more around relationships and fellowship, and not about the food. And if we do that, we can live longer and we can live prosperous. Because what they don't tell you, if you have high blood pressure, And all they're going to do is give you more high blood pressure meds, more high blood pressure meds. Well, what that's going to do eventually is blow out your kidneys. That's why they're building so many dialysis machines. Do the research. Don't just take my word. High blood pressure medicine affects your kidneys. Anybody, diabetic medicine does the exact same thing. They're not teaching you how to heal yourself. They're teaching you how to manage until you die, and then the next cycle goes on. You cannot continue to wear your body like that. And then once your kidneys are damaged, they're damaged. And you can't do anything towards that but get a kidney replacement. Then that's a whole thing where you're on medicine all the time because the kidney could reject itself. Don't do that. Drink water, eat fruit, eat vegetables, cook your vegetables to where there's a crunchiness in it, eat lean, healthy meats, eat 2.5 to 3 hours every day, eat small portions, and take care of your health. And if you do that, you think better, you are better, and you can be better, and you can live longer, and you can really make a difference in your life.
All right.
Yeah.
That works for me.
Yeah.
Straight up, fitness is not my big thing. Matter of fact, I was working out one time there at TCC while I was attending classes, and I think when it shut down, my mind shut down. I was like, I can't work out. But of course, you can always work out at home, which I have to be honest, I really have not. With the type of job that I work is very manual. I get a lot of exercise that way, but not that concentrated exercise. So I definitely have to do better on that for myself just as well. So in that, where can people find you in regards to your fitness?
They can go to www.21N as in Nancy, F as in Frank, T as in Tom, and X for Texas. So www.21nftx.com. And my website is there. All the information is there where I'm located at 1200 Overlook Terrace in Fort Worth, Texas, right up the street from the Potter's House, Fort Worth. We have a great program. We're just trying to help people change their lives. I know what, and I always learn, if God did it for me, he can do it for you. If I can lose 100 and almost 30 pounds and be healthy and build muscle mass, you can do this. No surgery. These are, I work for.
Got some guns.
There's no skin that's hanging from that, and no surgeries whatsoever. So, and I know the regimen that can get you there. And so that's what we do. We just want to make you be healthy so you can live a prosperous life. No gains. My price is probably cheaper than any other trainer because it's more of a ministry to help people. And I'm a business, so I do charge money. But I'm not outrageous with my prices because I'm trying to make a difference in my community.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Freddie Sandifer joined us here for the Mandated Podcast Show. I definitely enjoyed this whole thing.
And I love the name of your show, The Mandated Dude. That is the bomb.com. Yes, I love it.
Man. Thank you. I just, as I was thinking about it, just in the creation, I'm like, okay, what is it that men need to have? And mandated came to mind. I heard it from somebody some years ago. And it's like, it's mandated. So what is mandated? It's basically taking the responsibility or the authority over everything that you have.
Absolutely.
Dealing with those things, whether good or bad, just knowing that you have a certain role that you can't abdicate.
Exactly.
You can't abdicate at all. That word is big with me. And move forward and, stand firm.
Exactly.
And it's
exactly.
And it deals with a lot of growing just as well. So that's a whole nother conversation. But
I love it.
All right, man, just hold on a minute here. Hey guys, once again, this was another show for a Mandated Podcast with Freddie Sandifer here in the DFW Metroplex. You got the information if you want to get in touch with him regarding your health and wealth just as well. He is a man of many hats, and we always thank God that we have men such as him holding on to the responsibility that he has been given, and he is working it. He's definitely working it. So guys, we'll be back. Always a pleasure talking with you, and look to see you again.